All right, hey kids. So I wanted to give a little bit of an update on what I have been up to the last couple of weeks when I haven't been posting videos. Some of you might not know, following this channel, that the whole reason I started speaking out on YouTube is because almost a year ago, February 1st, 2017, I was one of a number of people who were attacked in the riot that took place on UC Berkeley campus and in the surrounding city of Berkeley in a successful attempt to shut down Milo Yiannopoulos' talk there that was being sponsored by the Berkeley College Republicans, and which I and some friends were attempting to attend when we were attacked. There's one component of the lawsuit where we are suing the individuals who attacked us for bodily injury, reckless disregard kind of thing. We could have died. We could have easily died. One of the plaintiffs on the suit, who I actually don't personally know, he's not part of our group attending, but who was also injured in the riot, had I think 12 skull fractures and was, unconscious for a long time. My husband was beaten unconscious. I got a concussion. And we were chased. We had to climb fences while we were blind with pepper spray, all kinds of things. No question we could have died, and the people attacking us, either that was what they wanted to happen or they didn't care if it did. All because we were going to see a speaker that they didn't like, or they assumed that about us. In any event, certainly no one talked to us beforehand to find out what we were all about. They just attacked us. So there's one piece of the suit against the individuals. The other piece of the suit is against the university and the regents of the university. So you'll see, Janet Napolitano and people named on the suit. That's just because she's the chancellor of UC. Essentially, we're suing the university, and part of what you do with that is name these individuals who are responsible for the university. The university has limited but not non-existent obligations to basically public safety and things that happen on their campus. They certainly have obligations under the First Amendment. They have obligations to treat, as a result, various groups equally. This is, protests and including violent protests are certainly not something new on the Berkeley campus. They seem in general to know how to deal with them, and then they seem to conveniently forget when it has something to do with conservative speech or right-wing speech. So they, depending on what we find out in discovery, there may be something sufficiently damning there. The police departments, so both the UCPD and the Berkeley Police are named. UCPD are responsible for what happened to me, because that happened on the Berkeley campus. The gentleman who ended up with the skull fractures, he was in city of Berkeley territory. So Berkeley Police were potentially responsible for that part. Most people probably aren't aware. Those who know something about the law are hopefully aware. The police do not have an obligation to enforce the law. So what we're alleging in the suit is not that the police were obligated to protect us and failed, but that when there's two pieces to it. One piece is, while the police do not have an obligation to protect people, they cannot not protect people in a discriminatory manner. So, for instance, a police department can not enforce the law just kind of randomly whenever, but they can't always enforce the law when it comes to white people and never enforce the law when it comes to black people or something like that. So there's that part of it, the question of whether the police acted differently because this was a conservative event, because this was a right-leaning event. And then secondarily, the police also cannot take a situation and make it worse. They cannot intervene in a situation. They're not obligated to do that, but they can't partially intervene, make something worse, and then back out, essentially, which is, from where I was sitting, certainly on the ground, exactly what that looked like. I mean, the police set up barricades that essentially funneled us into a particular spot. They were not clear in their announcements. They made a dispersal order that they then did not enforce, and they have acknowledged in their own policies, because again, Berkeley is no stranger to situations like this. they've said in their own policies that they know that doing this is makes things worse. Essentially, if you issue a dispersal order, you declare something a riot, and then you don't do anything about it, you don't arrest anyone, you don't force people to disperse, it tends to make there be more people and more violence and more disruption. So they were in violation of their own written policies that have been around for a while, and doing things against their training and all that kind of stuff in this situation, and that's not necessarily something that they can do. So there's also the city of Berkeley is also named. I assume that's kind of related to this other stuff that I've been talking about. And I think that's it. So the police, the university, the city, and the individuals who attacked us. And then, of course, we have various does named in the suit. So basically, as we go through discovery, we'll find more people who were, involved in the attacks on us, who would have some liability there. So mostly individuals, probably on that side. So that is basically the gist of what's going on. You can read the complaint. I'll link to it below. You can see there's tons of articles about it everywhere. I'll put some of those links below as well in case you want to check them out. And my lawyers and myself will be talking about them kind of wherever we can. So you'll definitely see us on Stefan Molyneux shortly, and they're doing a press conference tomorrow about the suit. So that is the situation on that. By the way, the lawyers who are representing us, Sean Steele of Sean Steele Law, he's handling the personal injury component. He is a very outspoken figure on the right and in the RNC, bit of a libertarianish guy, kind of like me. So he's handling the personal injury portion of the case, and the constitutional claims are being handled by Freedom X Law, which is William Becker, and Bill is actually representing us pro bono, so we hugely appreciate that. Freedom X is a nonprofit, so I'll put a link below. If anyone's interested in donating to them, we would really appreciate it because they've been really helpful to us. Their general thing is helping protect conservatives and then religious people from discrimination in the U.S. Bill's an evangelical Christian, so that's sort of his bent. But he's very generously representing a handful of atheists and gays and whatever else, because of course Christians are so hateful, right? That's why that's why he puts in all this effort to support people who aren't part of his religious affiliation for free. So check that stuff out, and I will probably talk a good bit more about both the case, the circumstances underlying it, and basically whatever else that I can. You guys probably are aware of how lawsuits go. I mean, it takes a long time. It'll be years before this is completed. Could be just a year in discovery, before we even move on to getting thrown out, going to the Ninth Circuit, getting thrown out by them, going to the Supreme Court, whatever else is going to happen. And there may be points where I can't talk about it anymore for various reasons. So I will share everything that I can whenever is possible. And if I have to go radio silent, sorry about that, but we have plenty of other stuff to talk about. So I'm definitely looking forward to this year ahead and getting some more interesting content out there and interacting with everyone. And just, I've been hugely overwhelmed by the support that I've gotten from people. So I think I will make another little video just purely talking about that, purely putting out like thank yous to the tons and tons and tons of people that I need to say thank you to throughout this process. So bye.